Okay, finishes. Faux finishes, colors, textures, secondary and tertiary, like features, carpentry features like trim. All that stuff is starting to happen now. We had our major construction, which you guys have seen, and some of the logistical or mechanical ideas before, and now we're starting to do things like construct a tree over here, stage right, stage left. We've got a big family portrait, which I'll show you, of the Addams. We like to include the house in the show, so each of these surfaces will have a framed portrait of the cartoon version of one of the Addams family members all the way down both sides, and so the house becomes part of the show in that way. And we like to do stuff out here. This is the tree that actually Wednesday's beau stands against, a la William Tell, with an apple on his head, and she shoots it. These are the gates to the cemetery. These are the lines that I was fixing up in the basement. I don't know if I'm going to get to fixing the face on this. This also begins, where do we start making concessions? And these are supposed to be like marble. And so what would the lions be made of? And then there's a header piece for this gate that comes in on a bar from above, and that says Addams, like it's their mausoleum or their area, their personal cemetery. So the letters, I think, and the lions, it would be nice to have in what looks like bronze on top of marble with wrought iron. They could also be black, I guess, but I like to mix things up. And I had this expensive turf. I found this by the side of the road. I don't know. I have a big piece of it, a couple big pieces of it. So I made some quick strips and made that. This is one of the few locations in the show where we're outside. So I wanted to. And these black trucks are just kind of. This is the part of the show. I can't do everything. It's a team effort, and everybody has a lot of great skills. But my carpentry skills are sort of necessary for some of this more serious carpentry work. So they use old trucks, they're called, that are black boxes on wheels, different sizes. We have them in the basement, and they put things on top and they get wheeled out. And it usually bothers me when sets are handled this way, because there's always a truck and it's just not as clean as the thing itself going all the way to the floor. So when we have secondary sets and stuff like that are on trucks, I try to dress them up to kind of make them homogeneous with the rest of the set. So the grass, I'm happy with that, and that's those pieces as well. So we've got an unfinished side to these stairs, which is the side that come together to form the grand central staircase. And this is a new piece that we're doing. That'll be a hearth, like a fireplace on one side, and some basement elements on the other side for different set arrangements. But then together like this, in this way, Fester can go to the moon, which is up here, in a gobo, like a projection light projection of the moon. But it doesn't draw a lot of attention. It'll all just be real low-key brown on this side. So it's not really part of anything. It just elevates him for that musical number. And of course, these two sides are finished like the inside of the Addams family house, which has got this rough maroon. And then the beautiful Katie Merrill painstakingly has started the process of this like Baroque wallpaper, or this busy like repeating medallion, which is very, very tricky, because this is the type of thing, so they give you a stencil with one medallion and a piece of the next one. And so you start and you stamp out all of one, and you take the stencil over and you align the piece of one medallion that's on the stencil to the one you just painted, and that gets you the next one and the next one. But you can compound error, so being meticulous, working this close and meticulously lining that up every time, there's a big hazard that when you get back here, like lettering a big letters on a sign, then you back off and they all run downhill or they all run uphill. So along with using the stencil, we're using some guidelines in here, which allow us, and you can almost see a grid here, this fine gap. There's like a tiling, a square tile that's happening in here, which isn't actually the boundary of the stencil. Anyway, but we're keeping that area kind of aligned to some pencil lines. That's helping us keep that on track. That's going on. I don't know why I talked before earlier about putting PVC through the tops of this balustrade. That was when we used this balustrade on curved stairway. So I put each one of these on the end of a curved stair, and then I warmed up and formed PVC. I needed that because it would do a big curve, and then I covered it with the foam because that would do a curve, but also because it creates like a handrail in cross section when you open it up like that. But our stairs are a straight shot, so perfectly, you know, a half of a 2x4 works perfectly well. And I did a compound miter down here and used some construction adhesive. Before the top was glued in place, I laid out and marked so I could see down inside the tube where that should fall. And I drilled a hole to reach through with my drill gun with a real long extension. And then I had a helper crank this over to perfectly up and down plumb, and I watched from above and ran a screw into the end of it, and the construction adhesive like squeezed out, and I smoothed that off all the way around. And then when I was done there, I figured we'll just tape over that hole, and I could commit to gluing these in the top. And I ran around these with some more insulation foam, and I scarfed that joint so it's not a butt, but it's a big long angle where one passes the other. And this is all foam glue, which I'll show you some of my tools and materials used for set building. And then to reinforce it, I used a little bit of gaff tape, and that's how they were all done. But again, like in an earlier video, most of the eye lines in the house are from here and down, so you can never appreciate that has an open top. And when this is all painted in brown, it'll look like a big sort of finished carpentry newel with a big decorative top on. I do have to come up with a solution for the bottom of those, and we're going to do wainscot through here. Like we were saying, this I felt was really sleek and really trim, and a great solution to save us hardware and not needing 2 latches to attach these stairs, yada yada. The reality is the floor wanders a little bit, and we're having the students, I'm leaving it, we've got Cast doing some of the set moves and Crew doing some of the set moves, and so it's just asking too much with a little bit of time to get that small cleat to get lined up for several different reasons over and over and over again. So I'm going to have to entirely change how this works and make it so that we can use another latch on this side, so we can be absolutely sure that mechanically, in a positive way, we can know that the stairs are attached and the cast can use them safely. So this would, I think, have worked if I'd have done it an inch or inch and a half, you know, sized cleat with that much greater of an overhang, and it would call for that much more on the back of the stair and a lot of construction rework here. So it was kind of my bad. And we have some other things that we're running into with these latches. How does this work? That's when we take these stairs. I'm going to take these and do this. But basically, you know, you've seen the stairs in a couple other ways, a couple other arrangements, and we'll do this one real quick. These also, we use them in this way, and you have to remember backwards, forwards here, but this one, oh, don't clean that off. It's so hard to do this one-handed, but basically we use these stairs to double back, and the way that we do that, no, I've got it wrong. No, I don't. Yes, I do. So here he is, the guy that made these things. Can't figure them out. But the idea here is that they've got latches on them that work in one arrangement, and we wanted them to work in more than one. So like that loop is here for when the stairs go up and off in that direction, and then we want to set these in a different way for another scene to make a different area of the house. And so I made it, they can come over and stop, and then they can roll forward basically until it stops like that. And then there's this hook on these stairs that can go in like this and then pull it over like that. And I had to smash this down, the bottom of this piece of hardware down below the level of the step, just so that this handle clears, and it does. But now crew's got to be really careful not to smash their fingers there. And I prime with a bonding primer all this metal because I can't scratch that off. And then when we paint it with latex paints, which we use on the set, that stays on the metal, doing it that way. If you just brush latex paint onto metal, it gets barked up and scrapes off very easily. So this will never ever again show the bare metal, and for years to come we'll be probably loading it up with paint over and over and over again. So now though, we use these pieces like this up and over on both sides, and they can easily, you know, they don't look normal when you're on them, but from the house they do, and they work just fine to go right up and over. And I'm a big fat guy who's panting. This is some fun fabric that we got, but we only had a little bit of it, and I guess I'm running out of this video length now. So that's some of the trickery that is in store for those who can come see the show. And I'm gonna pause and start another video and finish up my spiel here. Thanks for watching. We'll see ya.